Hi, this is Alan Wheeler here on the channel where I've been doing recordings on tarot and spirituality. And the topic tonight will be the Morrigan deals with consensus reality. I'll be using the Archeon tarot. I've drawn 3 cards to help me think about this issue after a brief introduction, and I've pulled an Oham symbol from the Irish oracle. I've been introducing something from the altar. I have something new just today, and there's a slight backstory to this item. In a recent lesson I had from a priestess on tarot reading, I was given the suggestion to use the aces from the Tarot of Vampires as a stand-in for altar tools. And so I've got 3 here out. So the scepter here can be used as a substitute for a wand. The Ace of Knives for a ritual knife. And the Ace of Grails has a beautiful altar cup pictured there among the roses. And there's also the Ace of Skulls, which I don't have out. Well, the one that I was led to focus on was initially here, was the Ace of Grails, and I had been meditating on communion and water and the connection through sharing in the drinking of the Grail. And I decided I was going to go out during the snowstorm here in Georgia yesterday and look through the store and see if they had any actual cups or grails or chalices that I could use as a real altar tool. Although I felt there was real efficacy, real power in just using the card conceptually. While I was there during the snow, I came across some cups in the shape of skulls, and I thought, oh, maybe that's not the style I want, and I doubted whether my wife Kristen would be into that style, so I left that by the wayside. I didn't find anything else either, but in meditation later, it really resonated with my heart. It came to mind, and I was strangely led to go back and purchase 2, one for my altar here at home, one for my altar at work. And it's a long story, but I had some synchronicities involving communion and discussions about fellowship and connection and openness, borders between tribes and things like that. And part of the meditation that led me to go back and get this was, I think maybe you can see in this light, there's almost rainbow hues reflected in this cup, and that resonated with me, both in that we, in a sense, there's a death in any kind of initiation or baptism, a kind of dying to self when we give to others, a kind of sacrifice there. And the rainbow effect uh, just resonated with me as the openness to all faiths, all paths, um, as I walk a blended path. As anyone who has seen my videos knows, that's a concern of mine. So this is the latest addition to my altar, and it just, whether the surface symbolism speaks to you or not, the intent of the heart is just connection and openness and fellowship, communion with all people, really. So the actual question, the actual topic for this video regarding consensus reality came up for me as I was in yoga class. Every Monday I've been going to a yoga class, and the instructor, in guiding us how far to stretch and work in certain positions, the instructor said, in yoga, your body is the truth. And he didn't mean really that there's no positions or no principles or no practices in yoga. He just meant it all must be, there's no right or wrong or something written in stone regarding what you can do in yoga, and that it needs to be adapted to who we are, and that's how he communicated that. In yoga, your body is the truth. And I reflected later that perhaps in spirituality, your spirit is the truth, just as in romance and matters of the heart, your heart is the truth. Or in art, as we know, there's no accounting for taste um, in that realm. Uh, so as I reflected on this, I thought, taken to the extreme, this idea that the truth is within us um, can become what is known as solipsism, this extreme self-absorption where we live in our own little world, like the narrator of The Telltale Heart, who opens in the story saying, "I'm not mad, you should have seen how carefully I murdered the old man." Um, so that kind of self-absorption really needs to be balanced with common sense and conventional wisdom, or does it? Um, when intuition is healthy, um, and all the cylinders are firing, and we're not mad men, insane people, unbeknownst to ourselves, we might ask, okay, um, are we being led by conscience, by the better angels of our nature, as Lincoln said, or by our higher self? Or are we being led by divinity, deity as in real entities? Um, an interesting question to me, and one guru said there's no use worrying about that issue because the results are the same if we're walking in wisdom. The fruit um, is the same, basically. And I have heard scientists say that placebo works even when the subjects know it's not real medicine. The sugar pills and the positive thinking they bring. Somehow they still work, even when it's known they are placebo. Such is the power of um, thought, perhaps. Religious practitioners would probably similarly say that prayer or energy work um, is effective for unbelievers too. Um, and so I don't know about studies on that, but certainly meditation calms the heart and has therapeutic effects as well. I even saw a scientist android on the new Star Trek Picard show, on the latest episode. This android said that shared mythologies have been shown to be therapeutic, um, as a um, rebuttal to someone who is saying that all religions are useless, preposterous. And so the android said, well, shared mythologies have been shown to be therapeutic. So, uh, interesting food for thought to me. So I turned to the cards to see what they would have to say from one perspective, what the cards would speak, or what they would remind or reflect from um, my own inner self. Um, what they would say about balancing the idea you have the truth within, balancing that with ideas of consensus reality. And I drew the Oham symbol, own, I think it's pronounced. This is the symbol. And it represents the gorse bush. And I've drawn this one before, and one of the aspects of the gorse bush is that it's burned back yearly, such as its incredible growth. And this reminded me, um, in my meditation on it, as I sat with the symbol, of how we get training in any field, really, martial arts, writing, painting, um, any craft. We have a period of training and study where we follow all the formulas and all the rules. But as we advance, that the ladder we climbed up in the beginning tends to get removed in the later stages, like training wheels that are taken off. And so I thought how this kind of this burning back, this shaking off of those rigid rules um, might be similar, and like the gorse bush that comes back from being burned, or the phoenix arising from the flames, um, maybe there's some value to this kind of scalding effect of consensus reality. Um, uh, and whether it's the consent, or perhaps it's the consensus reality being limited as the self expresses and grows in these cycles. Okay, um, starting point there. Now I drew 3 cards from the Archeon Tarot, and the first was the Six of Cups. And from the little white book, there's a little phrase that comes with this, and this is symbolist style artwork. So it's there may be strange and mythic and symbolic images, dreamlike, in the picture there. But the keywords from the little white book were something like lost secrets of the Magus, and the sixes being associated with the lovers, it reminds me of Paradise Lost, that nostalgia for the innocence um, of the childhood, and maybe that childlike faith that this card might represent. And I thought of the power of play, of wonder, whether imaginary friends or imaginary mythology, um, But there's truth in that. It taps into something real. At the same time, it's kind of a liminal experience that I just felt represented by the energy of this card. The next card I drew was the Herald of Pentacles. And you can see an angelic figure here. And there seems to be a trumpet there. In fact, the keyword said that the trumpet blast announces a new project. And this reminded me of the new wineskins that are necessary. And so it tells me that something is needed beyond the consensus reality, doing things the same old way. That those training wheels need to be removed, the ladder kicked out, and it's like the shedding of the serpent's skin, shedding the old skin, and what no longer serves. And there's a need to reinvent the self, to reinvent the identity and life that the cold hard facts may not cover by themselves. And this tied in for me with the idea of the gorse bush being burned back and to allow that new growth. And this is maybe similar to in yoga, your body is the truth. Yes, there's positions and practices and principles, but in that practice, there's kind of I think it may relate to phenomenology in the realm of philosophy, but that experience, it only works in the real experience and the real life, the real mind and imagination of real people. The final card that I drew was the Four of Swords. And the fours always remind me of the Emperor, that stability, whether it's the physical stability in the four directions, north, south, east, west, or the kind of cyclic pattern, the stable pattern of the changing seasons. But the Four of Swords would be in the realm of thought. So I see here someone that's grounded in thought, the kind of coming home to rest from the battle of passion. And so maybe this is one of the positive functions of that common sense, of the conventional reality. So after our wild imaginings and trips, soul journeys, maybe it's good to find that grounding and to return from the kind of battles of the passions, and to find that rest represented by the Four of Swords. So that's food for thought. I'm going to stop there. That's a lot for me to chew on. So thank you so much for watching. As always, I hope you will find connection with people in your life and with online community and on your spiritual path, whatever that might be. Take care.